FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
I also finished the book with a 10-step program. I'm not a technology person, which is also why I felt like I should write this, because there's been too many tech people telling us that what we need is more technology to get control of our email. And it's funny when that comes from a software company. Hey, here's something else that will help you get control of your computer. And it's quite simple. The number one thing I feel like is just not sending an email. And it doesn't mean, I'm not saying don't use email, because email has some really wonderful, efficient things about it. And it's crucial to work. I have 2 BlackBerries. I work in London because the magazine I work for is based there. And I have a phone that I use when I'm there. And I'm often going to meetings, and I have to use the phone to keep in touch with people. And I'm not saying, take your BlackBerry and drive over it. You can if you want to, because it might feel good. But you might need to get a new one for work. But you don't always have to send an email. You can walk down the hall and talk to somebody. You can send a letter. If you're sending a long email to a friend, does it really need to get there instantaneously? Because when it arrives over email, there's this expectation of replying instantly or quickly. And some things, if you send a letter, the message is, this is a gift. This is part of me. I've touched this paper. I've put a stamp on it. I've walked to an iron box and dropped it in there. And there's something, there's something very almost sensual about that. And if you, want to communicate with people that you love, it feels like that's probably one of the best ways to do it still. Another thing is just not checking it in the morning and at night. I used to do that, and I would have these crazy neurotic anxiety dreams. And it's usually because I was reading my email about work and then seeing something that would make me worry, and then going to sleep. And there was nothing I could do at 1:15 in the morning with that piece of information, but simply churn it into a kernel of really finely honed anxiety. So there's nothing that you can do with that information. So just don't check it. And if you check it in the morning, you're simply deciding to go to work 2 hours early. It's not going to get a jump on your day. It's just going to extend your work day. And actually, if you have a breakfast and you read the newspaper and you spend time with your wife or your friend or your kids, and you get to work without having worked, you might actually have the energy and the lack of resentment to actually go and do your work quickly and get it done and leave the office. And I feel like if we can start to do this collectively, it will have a cumulative effect quite quickly, because if you don't send an email to a person, they don't have to write back to you. And if they don't write back to you, you don't get this reply which you have to reply to. And they won't reply to your reply, and then we'll get back to you. And you won't have to send that reply to the when is this conversation over, to the thanks. And that's 10 emails that you could save. And I think of our correspondence as a kind of ecology. It's a landscape. It's something that we are entirely in control of creating. And it's one of the only landscapes that we can really create and build on our own. And it is not polluted to the point of total destruction. We're not at that sort of tipping point that Al Gore warns us about. When things heat up to the point of never turning back. We're not there, but we're close, and it feels like if we can start now, we'll be in a much better shape and be happier. Because how many of your happiest moments in life happen in front of a screen?